Okay, and we're off, and Mark.
Yeah, and kind of the last point I want to make about Caitlin is that you said you're right. There, she is going to raise the salary for these young players.
Yeah,
And what I think also is really important is she's going to raise the talent standard, and that's just going to
yeah,
make that league better and better and better and better. And that's kind of one of the things that I'm excited about, her being there
yeah,
and her kind of making
yeah,
the waves that she is. So,
yep,
and it's a good thing. It's a good thing all
yeah,
around. It's a good thing
absolutely.
for women's sports, you know what I mean? And these young girls coming up, playing junior league and high school league, you know what I mean? They see that, man, and it's something to really strive for. And they
Yeah,
see a gal like her coming in and doing it, and why can't I do it? You know what I mean? And
yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's really going to help, push that league along
yeah, yeah. And
in a positive way.
as long as they don't let men pretending to be women play in that league,
You had to
if they're
stab it.
on the
You had to
topic,
get it in
if
there.
they're
I
on the
know. I
topic,
know.
then they can't
It's so
have it.
hard. It's so hard not to. It's so hard not
Yeah,
to.
but it's true. I mean, what's Leah
I
Thomas?
agree.
I'm just
I
saying.
agree,
You
man.
know,
Yeah.
I think they
Yeah.
stripped. I think they stripped him of his winnings, and Riley Gaines was a big part of that to
Yeah.
stop that, which
I think so.
should happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sick and
That
tired
was
of
a
the
good move.
bullshit. I'm sick and tired of people allowing this to happen. Like, come on. We're eliminating women's sports. And if you want women's sports to thrive, every single woman out there, liberal, conservative, Democrat, Republican, needs to say, no, we will not allow
Not
men
allow
to
this.
compete in women's
Yeah.
sports. So
I
I agree.
100%
And I think
agree.
Caitlin Clark is excellent for this sport. And I think you were going to see a big, huge growth in this, providing these women pull their heads out of their asses and realize what they have with her. They don't
Yeah.
need to put her up on a pedestal that she's the greatest thing in the world. Stop. Just accept the fact that she is going to make everything better for the WNBA,
Yep. She is.
starting from salaries, starting from butts in the seats, starting from sponsorships, and on from there. And it just is going to grow. So I agree with you, brother. I think
Yes,
she's
sir.
excellent for the sport. All right. Enough about that. Thanks for joining the Rude Barn podcast. Please check out etsy.com/shop/the Rude Barn. We've got a lot of fun stuff up there, putting more stuff up all the time. Uh, we've got a Rude Barn flag shirts that are right behind us, right there,
Hmm.
that you can order as well. I put some of those up. We'll have some more stuff up there
Our
and
little
everything
tribute
else.
to America.
America.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, anyway, check that out. Thanks for joining us. Please make comments in the comment section what you think about Caitlin Clark, what you think about the Pride stuff, and everything else. And anything else you want to add before we sign off?
I yeah, we had another topic that we wanted to touch on.
Yeah, we're going to start that on the next podcast. Check that out. We're going to actually talk about inventors who have come up with some amazing technologies, and it kind of really started out with Nikola Tesla, and how when he died, he they found 30 trunks of his research in his room at the Roosevelt Hotel, I believe, in New York when he passed away. Here's the problem:
Yeah.
there were probably another 100 plus, 120 plus trunks of research that he had in the basement, stored up, everything like that, or whatever, that weren't found, that disappeared somehow, and they haven't been seen since. And a lot of the stuff is the free energy, the
Yeah.
0 point energy stuff, where you basically can charge your phone just in the air. Basically, you can send power through the ground or through whatever, and it's free, and it would make everything amazing. I think he was even working on anti gravity stuff as well,
Yeah, he
and
was. Yeah.
other ways of propulsion, other ways of these fuel sources,
Yeah, I think he was
everything like that.
dipping into dimensional stuff too, just a little bit. So, yeah,
Yeah,
and it was scaring. It's definitely scared. And his research and what he was doing, and what he was showing was really scaring that top tier.
yeah,
And it really, I think that he was obviously. I think he was silenced back then,
Mhm.
and I wish and pray, you know what I mean. So his research is found, and those the
Yeah,
trunks were found.
he apparently lost a lot of funding for a lot of these things that he was doing, and so that's where things were kind of starting. And he ended up actually, I believe, he's impoverished. He was just like broke as anything before he died. So the powers that be decided to take him out because he was a threat to the various industries, to the oil industry, to
Yeah.
the power companies, to you name it, whatever. 130 trunks worth of research and information lost to eternity. Not really. I'm sure it's in some warehouse that the government has somewhere
Oh
where
yeah, yeah.
nobody's gonna.
It's in,
You remember?
it's in
You
some.
remember?
It's
Yeah,
at the
Indiana
Vatican.
Jones. Yeah, remember Indiana Jones at the end where they get
Yeah,
that warehouse? I put the box,
dude.
the Ark of the Covenant in there,
I
and
w-
it's like
Dude, I watched National
millions.
Treasure the
Yeah.
other day with Nick Cage. Dude, Nick Cage, as weird as he is, dude, he's like one of my
Yeah.
favorite actors because
Oh yeah.
he's such a cool character actor.
Yeah.
But I love that kind of history. I love the
Oh
Indiana
yeah.
Jones stuff. It is all started with Indiana Jones, the Goonies, stuff
Oh
like
yeah.
that, dude. I love that kind of history. It's my
Yeah.
absolute favorite.
Yeah. Absolutely. Love it. Love it. Love it. It's awesome. So the interesting thing is if you've been paying attention over the years, and I've been watching some of these videos and some of these documentaries on these things for a while, and I'm like, you know what? Let's talk about that ourselves
Yeah.
because it's so much cool stuff, and you just want to sit there and just say, why is it that we don't have um, some of this power, some of these inventions, some of these things that are make our world so much better? And if you listen to people like Dr. Stephen Greer, who talks about all this, that we have the anti-gravity
Mhm.
abilities, we have the ability to cure cancer, we have the ability to do all these things. And it just makes sense that if all of this was available and all this stuff, the 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 industries, the company, the Pfizers of the world will make more money off of you managing your illness if you're on a monthly regimen that you got to pay X amount of dollars for, than if they actually cured your ailment, cancer, diabetes, whatever,
Yeah.
you know. And so the same thing was happening because now you have these inventions like this guy, Stephen Meyer, I believe his name was,
Mhm.
who invented the water powered vehicle that went on water. The emissions was H2O. What is that? Oh, water. That's right. And it was about as clean energy as you could possibly get. I think he had something where he could drive across the country on 2 or 3 gallons.
Yeah.
I mean, it just unbelievable. So I'm going to bring up some of these little videos. A couple of these will be in introductional. Introductional, is that a word? It is now. Um,
Introductional. Add it to Wikipedia.
yeah, yeah. Where's Webster's? Anyway, we're going to put that in there and talk about it. But it's very interesting. But here is intro. We'll play a little bit of this. It's only a couple minutes long. We may not do the whole thing, but let's just see. So here,
Yeah.
let's check this out.
News here at 6 o'clock, an age-old dream becoming a reality. A local inventor has discovered a way, hear this, to use water to run your car.
It's a major breakthrough that will no doubt make motorists happy. And as Ralph Robinson explains, the Pentagon is also showing lots of interest in this project.
That's a shocker.
Water has always been considered a precious commodity, but Stan Meyer's invention may make it even more valuable. He has developed what's called a water fuel cell. It has taken the place of his old gas tank. The water fuel cell breaks down water molecules into oxygen and hydrogen. The hydrogen is used to run his dune buggy.
I don't care if you use rainwater, well water, city water, ocean water. If you don't have any fresh water, go ahead and use snow. If you don't have any snow available to you, then use salt water because there's no adverse effect to the fuel cell.
Meyer started working on this project 4 years ago.
Awesome.
He's not a scientist. He isn't even a chemist. In fact, he never graduated from college. Myers was determined, he says, to design something to protect this country from oil embargoes.
And we've calculated that if we take the dune buggy from Los Angeles to New York, we would roughly use 22 gallons of water.
All right,
The
22.
Pentagon flew a
I was off by
lieutenant colonel
20.
in last week to look at Meyer's invention. There's talk of possibly using it in the Star Wars defense program.
How much gas do you put in your gas? Is your tank hold
15 gallons.
18, 20 gallons?
Man, mine's 15, but yeah.
A tank or so to drive across the country is all you would need.
Well, yeah, and that's it's insane, and
Yeah.
it was made out of water, which
Yeah.
we have quite the abundance of.
Especially in the ocean, because
pump
salt
in
water
ocean,
doesn't
yeah,
have an effect. Yeah.
yeah, you pump in ocean water, dude, and
Yeah.
there goes the oil industry.
Right.
Well, at least for fuel.
Who would you make the most mad in the oil industry if you did?
The guy behind the guy.
Chevron,
Yeah.
ExxonMobil, Saudi Arabia, Venezuela, Russia. Who all would you piss off? Well, we still need oil to create other things.
Yeah, we do.
Why can't we have the water or something like that be the fuel that takes us everywhere? But we still have to make clothing and plastics and everything else out of oil and petroleum, right?
Well, there was another guy, and I think that's where your number came from. His name was Tom Ogle, and he created a carburetor that was running off of the vapor instead of the combustion, and that was where he was getting 100 miles out of a gallon of fuel because it
was
was
100 or 200. It was something crazy like that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think they got 2 gallons, and then they went from Texas to New Mexico and back, which was about 200 miles, and it died right before they got back to Texas, and so it worked out to about 100 miles a gallon, which is insane, and that was all running off vapor, and it ran fine. You know what I mean? The whole time. It was really cool.
And the exhaust with water vapor.
Well, and you know, yeah, exactly. And to go further on this subject is what was happening to these guys was that just like Tesla, he was silenced. These guys were silenced. Myers here, the real, he got a lot of fame. Well, his story got a lot of fame because he was in an investor meeting with his brother.
Oh yeah,
and took a drink of his cranberry juice or whatever. Grabs his throat, runs outside. He's falling to the floor. His brother's checking on him, and his famous last words were, "They poisoned me."
Yeah.
And he dies right there in the hallway.
Yeah.
And then the coroner's report that says though it was an aneurysm.
Oh yeah, of course.
You know
what happens when you drink poison.
Yeah, yeah, that's goes straight to the brain, bro.
Yeah. It's just sad to think about this, and we'll show a few videos here that talk about various inventors that have met an untimely demise, just like our good buddy here, Stan Meyer, did. And just think of where we'd be today if this went through.
This would be a whole different world, man.
My God. Yeah. Let's play a little bit more of this. Then I'll jump into another one. We can comment in between. You let me know if you need me to stop this so you can make a comment as well.
And to run Army tanks. Myers is currently perfecting a water fuel cell for cars. It will cost about $1,500. He says it won't need any maintenance and you won't have to replace it.
Oh my God. No maintenance. And you don't have to replace it.
Wow.
So there goes your planned obsolescence. You remember when your refrigerators used to run for 30 or 40 years and now they crap out after a few?
There goes your 12,000 mile oil change.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be at least 2 years before the fuel system goes into mass production. The day it happens will be one the fuel industry hates, but it'll put a smile on the face of those who've had to say at one time or another, fill her up. I'm wrong problem.
As you can see.
They spit it out right there. It's almost like they were foreshadowing what was to come.
Yeah.
You know, it's absolutely crazy.
He died shortly after that interview. I think it was 98 that they killed him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or they unalived.
Let me see if I can find one of these other ones real quick. Okay, so here's this guy here. And this guy's basically talking about the same guy. So you can tell that it's not just one report coming out. I mean, this has been around. That guy was back in the 70s. You can tell by the vehicle that was, he was
That dune
driving,
buggy.
and the
Yeah.
other vehicles that were around him. So here's another guy talking about the same thing. This is just a short, so this will go real quick. But listen to this guy as well, because he kind of states the same thing we were talking about.
Online, the first thing you'll probably see is that he was an inventor who created a water cell fuel engine, supposedly proven to be a hoax in a trial. That's what they want you to believe. The court case was a dumpster fire, totally sus. Check out the strange ruling by the judge, or the shady dude who filed the lawsuit to begin with. You tell me that this was a legitimate trial. If you dig a little deeper into Meyer, you'll see that he received a patent back in the 70s for this incredible water cell fuel engine that he invented. Let me repeat that for you. Myers invented an engine which separated hydrogen from oxygen and emitted the oxygen as a waste product. What this invention would have done to the fossil fuel industry, it would have toppled it. Myers was in the middle of negotiations back in 1998 when he dropped dead in the middle of an Ohio restaurant. And his final words on record were, "They poisoned me."
There you go.
There you go.
They poisoned me. Yeah, I mean, and that's not the only story out there. You've got so many others. Yeah, I mean that got it. We don't need to beat the dead horse. There's some more links that talk about that whole thing with Stan Meyer as well. I do want to bring up the one that you found, and that's this one right here that talks about it. And all these little tidbits of information you gather from each of these is very educational, and we can certainly find out more as we listen to this. And it's just fascinating. You and I both love this topic. It's just like,
oh yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Imagine where we could be if these people weren't killed. I mean, it's like the guy, the whistleblower for Boeing, that was talking about how they cut the quality control, and that's why the door fell off in the middle of the flight and they had to fly back, and why the wheel fell off of the 777 just up in San Francisco and he had to fly around. And all of a sudden he's testifying against Boeing, and then all of a sudden he's found dead the next morning in his car in a parking garage. This was just a couple months ago, people.
Yeah, this was
still happens. Still happens. Yeah. So let's listen to this one. This is about the first water power car. What happened to Stanley Meyer?
Pay back $25,000 to the two investors. On March 20th, 1998, in the Grove City Cracker Barrel, Stanley Allen, his brother, and two Belgian investors lifted glasses in celebration of the culmination of more than 20 years of research and tinkering. Stephen Meyer, Stanley's brother, recounted what occurred on that evening. Stanley took a sip of cranberry juice, then he grabbed his neck, bolted out the door, dropped to his knees, and vomited violently. I ran outside and asked him what's wrong. He said, "They poisoned me." That was his dying declaration. The unexplained passing of Stanley Meyer at the age of 57 put a halt to work that, had it been validated, may have eliminated the need to rely on fossil fuels. People who knew him say that his work attracted attention from people all over the world, including mysterious visitors from other countries, government surveillance, and substantial takeover proposals.
Interesting, huh?
What occurred with water fuel cell was in the fact that once they understood was actually occurring, then under the U.S. national security mandate, I have no decision or power of whether or not the military or NASA or the federal government will utilize the technology.
National security.
You notice how they use that as an excuse to shut down lots of shit that people are doing?
Yeah.
It's a national security threat.
Yep.
How is this a threat?
National security?
And it's not national security. It's the blanket excuse they use to shut down anything that threatens their way of life.
With their money. They're
right. That's what I mean. Yeah. Exactly. It's just, oh my God, it's just
the way they so desire.
The death of Meyer kicked off a 3-month inquiry that captivated and fascinated Grove City police. In the end, the coroner's report cited a brain aneurysm as a cause of death for Myers. There are many people who believe that this is not the case, and that he was in fact murdered by wealthy oil tycoons in an attempt to suppress his creation.
Of course.
According to Grove City Police Lieutenant Steve Robinette, who was in charge of leading the investigation into Meyer's death, said, Meyer's death was laced with all sorts of stories of conspiracy, cloak and dagger stories. Stephen Meyer was astounded by the reaction of the Belgians the following day, perhaps even more than he had been by the collapse and subsequent passing of his twin brother. I told them that Stan had died, and they never said a word, he recalled. Absolutely nothing. No condolences, no questions. I never trusted those men ever again. It is theorized by many that the oil companies, terrified that Meyer's invention would put them out of business, had poisoned him on the night of the 20th. Many of these individuals subscribe to other conspiracy theories relating to the idea of free energy suppression by governmental and scientific agencies. It is thought that the suppression has been going on since the middle of the 19th century, and that it has been carried out by a variety of government agencies, corporate entities, special interest groups, and fake investors.
It's a good place probably to stop that, but
Yeah.
there you go.
It tells the story, and it tells the story that our national security isn't afraid to shut down whatever they deem a threat.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's black and white, folks.
Yeah.
It's black and white. And like Barnes said, it's happening today still.
Mm-hmm. Even more so, I would imagine.
I think it's happening in mass numbers that we're not hearing about, that it's not hitting the press. You know what I mean?
Right.
Behind closed doors and shady back
alleys.
It's happening a lot more than we're getting coverage of. That's for damn sure.
Absolutely. And you keep getting more and more stories on this stuff, and
well, especially with the healthcare industry as well. The cure for cancer thing is a huge thing. Back in the 30s, I don't know if we have any tape on this, but there was Edward Royal Rife created the Rife machine. And what that did is it created frequencies. That you could tune in to certain cells.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
sonic frequencies
to kill cells. And he started with cancer, and he was killing cancer. And what you could do is you could tune it into that certain cell frequency, kill it without harming any other tissue or blood or anything around it.
The good cells, right?
The good cells, yeah. And he was shunned. They damned his research. They didn't help him. They didn't move it along.
They ridiculed him. Junk science.
Yeah, and really kind of pushed him out of the industry.
Yeah.
And he ended up dying, and his research ended up dying with him, which is really, really sad, number one. Yeah. But it goes to show you that it's a lot more pocket beneficial for us to have to cure it with their drugs rather than do something like this that, they call it fringe science, and it's not respected in the industry and all that kind of bullshit. But that's the bullshit thing, because stuff like, cancer, AIDS, back to the AIDS epidemic, all that shit could have been cured right off the bat.
Yeah.
And done,
or at least within a decade.
Well, yes, as far as time goes, but no, it's still here.
Yeah.
We're still paying thousands and thousands of dollars, for these drugs for these people that this stuff could have cured. I've got a cousin. She's she had breast cancer. They treated it and she was up and down and up and down and up and down, and this, people know how the cancer thing goes. And she finally, with all the radiation, after like 5 years, she was cleared.
Yeah.
It came back 2 months ago, and I love her to death, and all my heart and prayers go to her, but she's not going to make it through the end of the year, man. And it's fucking sad. And stuff like this that's been shunned, poo-pooed, closed off, and hidden, could possibly saved her. You know what I mean?
Well, and it should really get people pissed off knowing there is a cure, and it's sitting in the back of the closet, if you will, and it's just sitting there, and nobody wants to open that closet, go look for that, bring it out, and then use it to help.
Yeah, if you think there's not a cure, you are blind. You are completely
Extremely
blind.
naive.
Or you're just telling yourself that, and you really don't believe it, because there is a cure. They know how to kill it, and but it doesn't it doesn't
make them money.
Doesn't pad the pockets. You know what I mean? It's a one and done.
Well, that's why I just think that I don't have any respect for the FDA. I have no respect for Pfizer, Moderna, these companies that create this shit. And it goes beyond that. It goes to the Monsantos. It goes to all the large food manufacturing companies that put all this shit in our food to keep us weak, keep us sick, keep us all of this stuff, so that they can turn around and sell their swill back to us and say, here, just take our pill, take our jab. You remember that, and do all this shit. I can make more money off you, keeping you on a monthly regimen of this shit. But, heaven forbid you should learn how to eat healthy and actually get healthy food and not have all this processed garbage, the high fructose corn syrup, the yellow dye number 5, the red dye number 3, whatever all these different things are, all the ingredients you can't even pronounce. And they're just keeping us, sick. And they're keeping these inventions that would make the world a much better place, but then they can't control us all or something. I mean, what's the purpose other than money? Is it how much money do you need to make?
Well, when the money overshadows the betterment of humanity is what really bothers me, and it makes me absolutely sick, because we could have bettered humanity as a whole, not just in the US, but the whole world. And to do that, and to keep that kind of stuff compressed and in the back room, in the back closet, is really sickening. You know what I mean?
Evil.
It's evil. It really is.
It really is. So let's get back to one more little thing regarding this, the inventor who mysteriously died after the car got 100 miles per gallon. This is a different guy, right? This is not the same Stan Meyer. I don't think on this one.
No, I think this is the Ogle guy, the
okay.
Guy.
All right, let's listen to this and see, because I think this is a little bit different. But it just goes to show you that it doesn't matter the betterment of society. And this is like people like us, like you and me, who invent something like this because we're not part of the cabal of the oil industry or the power companies and things like that. And we're just spat on. And
and this guy was 24.
Oh,
he was 24.
This is insane. Let's listen
to this. Car, and we're going to Deming, New Mexico, on a test run. Before we left, they drained all the gasoline out of this car, went across the street with a little can, got 2 gallons of gasoline, and brought back and poured it in there. And did this right inside the shop. One of Jim Peck's drivers drove my car, and we followed Tom Ogle in this car. That thing would run too. That thing would, we had to kind of step on the gasoline to keep up with it. So we went to...
Okay, hold on one second. So this isn't even a water invention. This is actually using gasoline.
This is using gasoline. Yeah, he just modified the carburetor and modified the engine to where it wasn't running off of the combustion. It was running off of the vapor.
So he basically squoze out all of the possible means of fuel to make this vehicle run on the same said gasoline that the oil companies were already creating. But because it was so fuel efficient, their profits would drop immensely.
Exactly. He made it ultra efficient. He made it too efficient.
Yeah, like 10% of their profits.
Yeah, exactly.
So here we are, and I loved it, and I love this because we have the various administrations over the years trying to push the auto industries into to make it, and this is what, you just really have to ask questions, question everything that's going on about this stuff. Why we're pushing the EV market, because that's pushing the oil companies out of business. Wouldn't it be? You know what I mean?
Well, the thing was too is, and there's been EV forever. I mean, there's
Yeah.
they started doing EV stuff in the early 30s or something like that.
Right.
If I remember right. But at the same time, you couldn't. It was the same thing. They were running into the same problems that they're running into now.
Right.
And what's happening now is it's overloading grids.
Right.
The batteries, what do they use for the batteries? I can't remember, but the mining for that is absolutely terrible for the environment.
Horribly
And
environmentally damaging. Yes.
yeah, it is. And then they want to turn around and slap us in the face with global warming bullshit.
Right.
Well, you know what? And I think personally, and you can slam me in the comments all you want, gang, but I think global warming is bullshit. I think it's a
It's a
sham.
money-making scam.
Yeah, it's a scam. It's
For
bullshit.
different
It's not
industries.
really happening.
Yeah.
Our world in general heats and cools, and it's been doing that for millions of years. But here's the thing: is that they want to sit and tout the global warming, the emissions, and blah 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 blah.
The greenhouse gases.
Yeah, that's why we have to go to electric. But the mining for that is it's so much worse than drilling for oil and pumping in oil. It is so bad for the environment. And if you don't believe me, look that up. I mean, we can run a 2-3 podcasts just on that.
Oh, yeah.
Just on that subject alone.
And we probably will.
But I really urge you to go in there, especially if you own an electric vehicle, go in there and look at how they mine for the contents of that battery.
The cobalt, the lithium,
the lithium,
other rare earth metals that they have to use.
It is so damaging, and the emissions are so bad. And and if you're one of those guys or people that believe in the global warming thing, do some real research on that and look how bad it is. And I $10 says you will get rid of that EV car, you will throw it in the trash and never look back.
Well, China is a huge supplier of the rare earth minerals that are put into these batteries.
Imagine
so
that.
If you are not a fan of China, but you like the whole, okay, we got to get global warming, the EVs and all that stuff, then you're kind of hypocritical because
you're contradicting yourself.
China is the one that you want to boost their economy. I mean, they're the what are they? The 75-80% of the production of electric vehicle batteries in the world.
Oh yeah,
or something like that.
Yeah.
And I just saw something about their electric vehicle market has been oversaturated. The same thing. You've got the grid demands that are not able to keep up with the demand. They're losing money. I mean, I think Ford and some of these other big car manufacturing companies are losing tens of thousands, 10, 20, $30,000 per vehicle they sell. Well, that's not sustainable as a company. Why would you ever create anything and sell it for very long if you're always losing that much money on it?
Yeah.
It's
Well,
a
and I think
scam. It's a sham. It's a scam.
That what do they call it? Where there's both gas and electric in them.
The hybrids.
The hybrids, yeah. I was reading a story the other day that the hybrids are actually peaking.
Yeah.
Because you want the people that can get the fuel efficiency out of them.
Right.
And these are obviously people that aren't driving a crazy amount, you know what I mean, or having
around
to deal
town driving,
yeah, exactly, not having to deal with morning and evening commute type stuff.
Right.
And I'm okay with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you wanted to do the hybrid thing, you know what I mean? I'm okay with that. I just the full electric thing is ridiculous because it's not going to be sustainable.
Well, plus if it loses a lot of its ability to hold a charge and to produce electricity when you have cold weather as well. the efficiency of
Yeah.
those batteries drops dramatically, like in half.
Dude, I was watching a video on that new electric truck or whatever.
Oh, the
That
Cybertruck?
monstrosity of a
Oh,
vehicle.
God.
This dude,
The stealth truck.
it took 24 hours for this guy to get it from 30% charge to 100% charge. Okay. He went out and he ran like a few errands, and then he went, I, if you find the video, I'm not positive where he went. I think he went to like a family dinner or something like that. That was, 30, 40 miles away from his home.
Yeah.
And then he comes back. And this was on a full charge. Okay.
Right.
After he had charged it for 24 hours to get it from 30 to 100, he comes back, he parks it at home, and this whole time he's showing, he's videoing and he's showing the amounts, on the little screen there,
Right.
inside the vehicle. He gets back from doing a few errands, going to a family dinner, comes back on a full charge. He comes back and it's like 20%
Left. Wow.
left.
Yeah.
How the hell? He didn't even go 100 miles on
my
a
God.
charge.
Good
And
Lord.
and now he's got to go another 24 hours. So if that's your primary vehicle or your only
screwed.
vehicle, you're screwed.
The only people buying those are people who have too much money and don't know what else to buy, and so they buy it as a novelty.
That thing cost, I don't even know. I didn't even look at the cost of that thing, but I'm sure it's close to
Couple
200K.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gotta be a couple hundred. Well, here's my thought. Okay, so why is it that we can't have a perpetual charging? So, in other words, if you have an electric vehicle or a hybrid or something like that, why can you not take the power generated from the wheels turning, that's not generating electricity as it goes? You can have a perpetual charge on your vehicle if they did it right. Of course, we know why.
Well, they
You
do
need
it.
to pay for your fucking charging station.
They
to sit
do it.
there.
They do it in combustion engines. It's
Right.
called an alternator.
Right.
Why can't you have an onboard charging system?
Exactly. So when you're driving down, theoretically, just like with solar, if you had the sun shining on that car, you could drive across, however far an
Across the
8,
desert.
10-hour day with sunlight would get you,
Yeah.
and you could drive it without having to recharge, refill up. They can, I know that, if we can make a water-powered vehicle,
It's been done.
why can't we have a hybrid? Do you fill it up so you have your backup, and then it converts over to electric to run down the highway, and as it's rolling, the wheels are turning and spinning. Each of the 4 wheels are generating power and electricity to keep your charge up in your vehicle.
Charge. Yeah.
Well,
Why
we all know
can't you do
why.
that?
It's the almighty dollar,
Yeah.
baby.
Well, the problem is like you said, the more and more that are out there, the more and more it's killing the grid. You know what I mean? And then we're gonna have rolling blackouts because this asshole want to charge his Tesla all night. Like, no, that's not okay.
I drive up to go
okay.
I drive up to go to my office every day, and I see this white Tesla parked in this garage and in the driveway on the house on the route I usually take to come to the office every morning, and it's always charging. It is always charging.
Always charging. Yeah.
Every time now, granted, I'm driving up in the morning or something like that, but it's, I don't know what time this guy leaves in the morning to go to work, but it's definitely after like a 10 o'clock or something. And it's always charging. And if you drive down the highway, we drove up to Montana, like we mentioned the other day, and we saw some Teslas driving on these long stretches of empty highway. And if you've ever driven up there, there's, miles of empty space between towns.
Yeah,
and you don't have charging station in a lot of these towns.
Yeah.
By the way,
it's like an hour drive if you want to go anywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? From town to town.
And I just sat there. I'm like, how the hell? That would take, if I had to charge it a couple times, because it's about a 400 and something mile drive to, that we did. And if your Tesla only got, you got AC blowing so that's using up some of your charge that would normally be on your trip.
You gotta power that screen.
Power got that. You got the screen to power, and God knows whatever else. So you're probably maybe getting a couple 100 miles. And
if that, dude.
Yeah, right. And so let's just say you have to charge up one time before you leave. halfway in the trip, and then by the time you get to your destination on a 400-mile trip, okay? And in it takes how long to charge a little Tesla up fully from almost empty?
Yeah, I mean,
An hour, 2 hours, half hour on
I
a
don't know.
supercharger?
Yeah, I don't know.
You're adding 2-3 hours onto your drive on your trip. That makes no sense at all.
It makes no sense. And what are you doing? You're sitting there, or you got to get an Uber back to your hotel while your car charges. Because, like you said, in those remote towns, there's not
good luck
readily available. There's just not.
Yeah, good luck finding a charging station.
I mean, and you can't plug it into a 12 volt. You know what I mean?
No.
So it's like, so those kind of trips are out. You're gonna have to rent a car for that.
Yeah. So to have this guy invent 100 miles per gallon on gasoline, so that the oil industry still is making money, it's insane. Let's listen a little more of this, and then I'll jump off to some of these other inventors who are inventing something completely different, who are also mysteriously dying.
Deming, which was 100 miles from El Paso, and we made an exit there over to Holiday Inn.
Holiday Inn.
Went in.
Remember those?
We all sat around a little round table there and had a cup of coffee. And while we were there, several people came in for our autographs and so forth. And then after we left there, we came back to, got as far as El Paso, and it ran out of gasoline right just about the center of the city. So we checked it out, and it still came to just a fraction over 200 miles that we had made with 2 gallons of gasoline.
Wow, that's just crazy.
Well, and I'm not sure if this video goes into it, but again, he was the kid who did it was 24.
Yeah.
And died of he passed away of under mysterious circumstances.
Well, let's see if they show a little bit more. I wasn't sure how far this.
After that fateful trip to New Mexico, Tom became a local celebrity. Not only does Ogle's car promise more miles per gallon, but he says it will clean the environment. I've had the oil companies try to buy my unit with the agreement that I'd never build another. I refused to sell, and the only thing they had left was to try and break me in court.
So it makes you kind of wonder how they got to him and got that thing, if he felt that way. But
eventually, Tom found a company in Washington that he felt would take his invention to market.
They claimed that they were going to take it up to their place, and they had the technicians and everything that was going to refine that thing, up to a better point than what it was.
His was sophisticated enough to get him dead.
After his Oglemobile was taken away, Tom was found dead in his car. According to an investigator, his death was due to alcohol and an apparent overdose of the drug Darvon.
Oh my God.
I'd come home on the weekend and it had gone up another 25, 50, 65 cents a gallon.
There was a lot of complaint that prices went up excessively after the hurricanes.
Yeah, that's about where his story ends. But that was the thing. They offered him in the beginning $25 million, and I'm not exactly sure when this was, but this is either late 70s, early 80s, I believe. Looking at the backgrounds here. But at that time, $25 million was like
like 50 million, 60 today or more. Yeah.
And he refused it, and he wouldn't do it. And in the research that I was doing on him, he wasn't an alcoholic. He rarely used alcohol, and then the pills were
probably never did pills.
He would never have. He didn't have those prescriptions or anything like that. So that's a little sketch, maybe.
It just seems totally normal to me. It happens all the time.
It's not fishy at all.
No. I mean, come on, let's face reality. If you were inventing something that's really cool, that'd be great for the environment and really kind of keep large companies, like Chevron, I don't want to, oil companies in general, from making money, it's totally natural for you to not be breathing
Yeah.
for very long. It's natural. I don't know why you're worrying about that, but whatever.
Well, here's a tip, gang. If you're going to do that, don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get it done, get a patent, and then give it out to the public.
No. Okay, so
Don't tell anybody.
not even that. Okay, so all right, talking about the patents, that is where apparently everybody goes wrong.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Yeah.
That is where it goes wrong. Let me tell you why. So when you file a patent, now it's with what is the place that you file that? Oh, that's right. The U.S. Patent Office.
U.S. Patent Office. Yeah. There's one
Who
in your town.
owns or runs the U.S. Patent Office? Who could that possibly be? Maybe it's in the name. I'm not sure. But most likely the United States government. Okay. So when you bring a patent in, apparently when you file a patent there seems to be an odd number of missing patents that never actually get filed or that never actually get put out there. There's hundreds of thousands or something. I mean, it's some insane number, and I could be way off. It could be 5, but I think it's more than that. And what happens is that these patents all of a sudden disappear into that big Indiana Jones crates of infinity in the warehouse. They're putting everything in. It disappears.
I want to see this warehouse so bad.
I know, I do too.
Like for real.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All the secrets in that.
It is just amazing. But apparently a lot of this stuff disappears. So what they're saying is don't get a patent on it. People are just kind of agreeing, I just want to make money and somebody's going to buy it from me and I'm going to be wealthy and yada, yada, yada.
Yes,
well, the reality is not that. The reality is that you have now threatened the livelihood of these and the income potential of these companies. And you can see what happens to you when you kind of go up against the big guy.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
what they
I
say
retract that statement. Do not get a patent.
do not. Yes, that's right. So don't get a patent, first of all. And then secondly, open source that sumbitch.
Yeah.
Get it out there to everybody you can. Stop trying to worry about making your millions on it because it's not going to happen. But if you truly believe in your invention, you truly believe this is something that's going to be better for the world, get it out there for everybody and just give it away. I mean, I hate to say it. Give it away, give it away, give it away now.
Well,
that should be a song.
People, anyway. I believe that people, inventors who do this kind of stuff, they're not fueled by the money.
No.
You know what I mean? They're fueled by making something
truly better life.
Yeah, that can better the betterment of society,
right,
and humanity, and those people are truly blessings,
Yeah.
to our society, and this is what happens to them, and it's
well,
it's ridiculous.
They've been sold the bill of goods that you must get it patented. Well, why would an entity like the United States or some company or something like that tell you that you need to get it patented? Well, why do I need to get? Well, because somebody could steal your invention and all that. You mean like you?
Yeah, you mean like the government?
Yeah, you mean you? Maybe, I don't know. So it's like, get your flu shot every year because help you. You know where I'm going with that. And it's just like, stop. We got to stop doing that. When somebody tells us why, ask yourself why are they telling me to do this?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not there for the money, then why would you not just open source that son of a bitch and get it out there to everybody you could? Hey, try this, try this, try this. Here's 50,000 copies I made. So you can burn the copy I have in front of you. It doesn't matter. I've already mailed them out to 50,000 other people. You just, I will delete the video after that. No, too bad. It's already out there and people have copied it and put it elsewhere and you're not going to stop it at this point. If that's what you truly want, then get it out there to everybody. If you're trying to make money, you will not. Most likely you will not make money unless you work for that company and you can benefit the oil companies and the car manufacturers and things like that. It's just kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't patent it. That's the lesson learned.
Lesson for today.
Yes. Okay. So now moving on to somebody who was inventing, and this goes back to Tesla because this is what he was, Nikola, not Elon. Nikola Tesla, not Elon Musk, was putting together all of these inventions. And I think we did mention it in this. I can't remember. We've talked about it a few times. Or when he died, he had 30 trunks of his research, and then 100 or more ended up missing that he had, but only 30. Free energy was one of those inventions that he was coming up with. So once he died, of course, he was broke. They chastised him. They did everything like we talked about. They've been doing with everybody here, so that he was discredited and all these different things. So somebody else came up, may have found something or also figured out how to come up with free energy. And then here, they mysteriously died as well. So let's check this out.
Stefan Marinov was the leader of the European free energy movement. In 1997, he made tremendous strides in the technology. Before he could develop his first prototype, he fell out of a window. Dr. John Mullen, a nuclear physicist, used to work for McDonnell Douglas, one of the largest military contractors in the world. He died of arsenic poisoning in 2004. His girlfriend was originally a suspect, but she was found dead in her apartment shortly after.
So definitely
there
not
are
a
no
suspect.
suspects, there is no investigation, there will be no trial. Dmitry Petronov invented a plasma battery that powered his home for 14 months. In 2010, he went to a bakery and was never seen again. Zachary Warfield was another inventor who developed his own plasma battery. Warfield visited Petronov to exchange information. That same year, Warfield died in a strange boating accident in Washington, D.C. Eugene Malov was a physicist and expert in cold fusion. He claimed he had a working prototype of a free energy device. In 2004, the day before he was to make a public announcement about his findings, he was beaten to death. Ari Dagos actually patented free energy technology based on the zero-point field. In 2007, he was about to get on a flight to meet investors who were going to fund his research. He was found dead in his car at the airport. Rory Johnson created a cold fusion laser-activated magnetic motor that generated over 500 horsepower. He planned a public demonstration of 4 vehicles equipped with this magnetron motor. The U.S. Department of Energy placed a restraining order on this technology, preventing publication. And though in excellent health, he died unexpectedly soon after. Mark Tomian, a physicist, patented technology called a star drive, which uses zero-point energy, very similar to the ARV. In 2009, he developed a working prototype. Shortly after, he died from an unexpected cardiac event. His research is missing. Stan Myers developed a working engine that ran on water. In 1997, he died from what was officially reported as a cerebral hemorrhage. This happened while having lunch with 2 potential investors. His last words were, "I was poisoned."
See, what's the lesson here? The lesson is don't invent anything. Do you people not get it? Stop trying to fix the world.
Right?
It's not worth it. Don't. No, I'm just kidding. It can be done. It should be done. We should keep all of these inventions going. These people should be getting their findings out in the world to everyone. They can't kill us all. Famous last word.
Yeah, they can't.
Yeah, but they can kill a couple people who are collaborating on a free energy deal. They can kill a couple people who are collaborating on, plasma batteries. They could kill a few people, but if 50,000 people have the ability to make this, they can't really do mass genocide of these people without, I don't know, something kind of happen. You can't be Clinton-sided if there's a mass number of you.
Yeah. That almost seems like what you have to do is almost like get a group of people behind you. You know what I mean? Like 30 people that know this thing, all know the research, everybody's backed it, you know what I mean? And then you have create hidden records for it that only certain people can get to, you know what I mean? And then publicize it, and then they can't unalive all of you, you know what I mean?
Right. And I don't, and that goes to another point. It's like, you know what? I don't want to sit here and say unalived and all this because it just really pisses me off. And not that you just said it, but that you have to sit there and kind of say it.
You have to say it.
No, he committed freaking suicide. He was killed. He was murdered. Why are we dancing around
Got
this shit?
himself 4 times in the back of the head. You know,
but and no blood around him. But you know, he committed suicide. No, it's just a side note. I tangented off. Sorry, brother. But yeah, but it's insane that we can't have the people, good people of the world, who say, you know what, there's a better way, and we don't have to be beholden to the gas prices going up because there's a hurricane. Isn't it always interesting how it's always like a hurricane or natural disaster or war or something is always going on that gives the excuse to raise the price of gasoline, to raise the price of heating oil, to raise the price of our electricity, to
they have to blame it on something. You know what I mean? They can't just say, I need a new vacation home in Belize.
Right.
So let's bump these gas prices for like a month and we'll be good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They can't just come out and tell the truth about that. They have to blame it on something. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. And it's just pure insanity of what's going on, and it all leads back to the greed, and all of that. So we'll just show a couple more because I don't want to beat a dead horse. I think people kind of get it, that a lot of these inventions out there are with people trying to do the right thing, patent the invention so that it can't get stolen and misused. Is to really just it's like the whole open source technology, like the blockchain technology, get it out there so there's checks and cross checks and checks and balances on all this stuff, so that there's no centralized authority that's running everything, that it's out there. Maybe we can create a better world with cleaner air, cleaner energy, and that goes for you, China and India, the biggest polluters of the world.
Right.
If we can get you guys to also get on board with this, and somehow if somebody can make some money so that this will be allowed to happen, but not make so much money that it costs you, $4 or $5 a gallon for gasoline to fill up your car. And then you have the pollutants, which, you're blaming on the global warming scam, which is what it really is. So somebody else can make money.
To bring it to bring it home, really what the problem, like the biggest problem I see here is what it's turning society into. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really disheartening, to be honest with you, because it's turning society to just greedy, money hungry moguls who want to rule the world under their own thumb however they want to, and create more and more and more greed, money. But and the thing is like you can't take it when you die. So okay, like when's enough? And when do we get back to the betterment of humanity?
Right.
You know what I mean? And being a philanthropist, you know what I mean, at your heart of hearts. And that it's so disheartening that this is the norm. You know what I mean? That our society's come to is just this garbage. You know what I mean?
Well, and it's like they feel that we, the plebeians of the world, are a threat to them.
A threat, yeah.
And it's like, wait a minute. No, if what you want to do is you want to do this big wealth transfer. You want to take more money out of our pockets to further your agenda, your company, your profits, your whatever, and you don't really want to do any good for anybody. But the fact is that nobody even thinks about you. If I'm trying to run my life, go on vacation, keep a roof over my head, food on the table, keep my family going, I don't think about the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers of the world and things like that. I could give a rat's ass. You people want to destroy me and control me and allow me to do this, that, or the other, which is like, why do you even give a shit about what anybody is doing as long as it's not really a threat to you? You've got more wealth than you know what to do with. Why are you,
Yeah, and the thing is too is like we're not here for a long time. You know what I mean?
No.
And really, the goal is for me, I guess, is to have the best experience I can here. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
with this kind of thing, you know what I mean? And then provide, the best experience for my offspring that I can. And
Pass on a better world than you left it.
right. And how can I, how can I do that when there's just this greed and garbage in the world? You know what I mean? That is constantly, forming, the road that I have to go down, and it's
Yeah.
fucking terrible.
Yeah, and it's depressing to think about because you're just like, "Oh my god, just leave me alone.
Yeah, just leave me alone. Like,
Just let me do my thing as long as I'm not, interfering with somebody else's ability to live their life in a
live
free
their
way of
best
what they wanna
experience.
do."
Yeah.
Exactly. Leave me the hell alone.
Yeah.
Leave them a hell alone. I'm not bothering you. I couldn't bother you. You have more money. You can take me down in a court thing, or you can, in a trial and try to destroy me all you for what reason?
For
Because
what?
you're threatened because we might actually have something that'll produce clean energy, that'll free energy, that we all can have a better quality of life. Is it that you are so evil you don't want anybody to have what you have? A better quality of life, a better
Yeah.
food supply, a better way of traveling around the world. I mean, what is it? What is it that you have to do? Like the World Economic Forum, why is it that you want to control what everybody does? Carbon footprint. Oh, you've traveled too much, therefore you can't travel. Who the fuck are you to tell me I can or can't travel somewhere or do something
Right.
or whatever? I
I
mean,
just wanna do my
these people are
in peace.
these people are fucking insane, dude. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You know that. I know that. I think people need to understand that.
I
And
think people need to start, just start like I not necessarily believing it, but believing it. Like
Yeah.
you have to say you have to sit back one day and be like, yeah,
Yeah.
admit to yourself that these people are insane. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they are money and power hungry. And if you don't stand up to it in your own way, I mean, you're just going to get mulled over by the crowd of sheep that are following this crap.
I don't want to be a sheep. I don't want to be a slave. I don't want somebody telling me what I can and can't do, which is just baffling to me. How many people sit there and say, "Oh, you can't tell me what to do." Really? But then you bow down and you took the jab that Fauci told you to take and you didn't even bother to think about it. And you said, "Oh yeah, I'll stay at home because, I'm not essential," or all of this stuff, and you bent over and took it right up the ass because somebody told you what to do because they said, "Oh, it's for the betterment of society," or "We don't want you to get sick and we don't want grandma to die." And you didn't bother to sit there and say, "Well, this doesn't make any sense."
Yeah.
But you can't tell me what to do. But people like me who said, "You can't fucking tell me what to do," who actually stood up, now we're the bad guys because we're endangering grandma. We're the one. Oh my God, we can't. Oh my God, don't celebrate Thanksgiving dinner together unless everybody in the party has been jabbed. And I love how they are so condescending about that shit too. You have to get the jab. How insulting can you fucking be?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. So without going too much
I
around
had,
that, bro.
yeah, I mean, that was a good rant. And I feel like
Thanks. What I do.
your
That's why we're doing a podcast, buddy.
It shows up, man, and it's real. And if you don't think it's real, here's a quick story that I got. A friend of ours lost his mother this past week, and or actually I think it was early last week, and their family dynamic was split.
Yeah.
And they were torn in half because they didn't get the jab. They didn't want a jab. He's a doctor. As a matter of fact, a really good doctor. He's an author of a book called New York Times bestseller, Fauci's Fiction. His name's Dr. Mike Schwartz. If you don't know him,
let's find a link for that so we can get that.
Yeah. I'll send you a link for that.
Okay.
It's a damn good book, but it's called Fauci's Fiction, and he cites that how the jab is bullshit, basically. you want to do some more research, I very much encourage you to. However, but what happened was they didn't get the jab. They didn't want to get the jab. He knew that the jab was crap. He was in all this. So, but his mother, she was insistent, and she would not let them come around. It broke their relationship. All this. So he's had very limited contact and especially side by side contact with her since this. It's 4 years later, and all the research that's come out.
Oh my God.
And everything that's been overturned. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She still was not. She was not convinced.
She still didn't want to believe it. Yeah.
Did not, and she passed away. Under this circumstance where it tore their family apart, you know what I mean? Tore their family dynamic apart, and relationship apart. And it's sad. It was really, really sad. And that was the saddest part of it. You know what I mean?
Well, I've had a friend at the gym who's got grandkids. And when it happened, he said, and he didn't want to get the jab either, since we're talking about this, because I want to do an episode, by the way, coming up very soon about all of the bullshit that they're finding out about how this came about and how there was no testing and it was all a scam, all a lie. The adverse events that have been happening from people who've gotten the jab. It's all coming out slowly but surely, trickling, and I don't think a lot of people know about it because mainstream media is not going to talk about it. So we will, and we'll get some stuff. I just was reading about it in the Netherlands. They have some stuff. People, you need to understand it takes a good decade before a vaccine can be mostly fully tested at least, and approved as safe and effective. We barely had a few months, and they were pushing this on everybody. They didn't know if people were going to be allergic to it. They didn't know if it was going to affect their heart. Well, of course, we found out later myocarditis and all that shit was happening. All these reports.
It's killing people almost as fast as COVID did. You know what I mean?
Well, the one thing that COVID did do is it pretty much stopped people dying from the flu. I couldn't even hold a straight face there for very long.
I don't know if
people
are hip to Barnes' sarcasm, but it is thick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's amazing to me how flu deaths dropped at virtually zero during COVID. It was so weird. Yeah. But good job, COVID, for Here, let me knock my microphone a little bit more. Is that loud? Anyway, it's just it's just nuts. And it's sad because he got the jab because he wanted to see his grandkids. And I'm like, I get it. But it sucks that you had to feel that way. I didn't take a trip because I didn't want to get forced to get the jab to go fly over to Europe. And it's not a good thing. And I was pissed and didn't make my wife happy at all. But I felt that it wasn't right for me to go do that just so I could travel. That was
you could travel. Yeah.
That's bullshit.
Well, I mean, that was responsible of you. You know what I mean? At the same time,
because I really wanted to go. I'm telling you.
One of the things that I noticed, and this is really sad, it ruined a relationship for me. Was the shedding.
Oh, yeah.
I think I don't know if we talked about it, or I know recently I talked to somebody about it. Yeah, the shedding was it was terrible, dude. Like I was starting to get flu symptoms just being around this person for 4 or 5 hours. You know what I mean? And we were trying to do the boyfriend girlfriend thing, right? And she was adamant that I get the jab, and I'm like, no, I'm not getting the jab. And but just being around her, the shedding was it was making me feel sick. You know what I mean? And then she'd leave the next day. I felt fucking great.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And she'd come back, and then we'd be around each other, and I start feeling like crap again. You know what I mean? Like fluish. And I finally told her, I was like, you know what? I love you to death. However, you got the jab, I didn't. That's always going to be between us because I'm not getting it. You know what I mean? I'm not. There's no way I'm getting it ever. My children are not getting it. My ex-wife.
And you can hate us. You can hate us for that and give us comments in the comment section for what kind of bastards and grandma killers we are.
Right. And my family is not getting it. My close friends are not getting it. All this kind of stuff. And I said, so this just isn't going to work. It's like, plus the shedding, like literally, I told her, I was truthful. I was like, every time you're around, I start feeling like I'm getting the flu. And I think it's that jab shedding off of you. You know what I mean? And I can't have it. You know what I mean? I can't do it.
There's
So
just so
sayonara.
much that they're
It
finding
is.
out about this, about what it's doing in our bodies and how it's never going to come out of our bodies
Mm-mm.
and all these different things. And they're also telling us how people who got the jab, who got COVID again or got sick horribly. And I don't know the percentage of people who didn't get the jab but got COVID, how their symptoms were ever milder, how much milder, or whether they got. I mean, I know people who got, oh my God, it's the worst thing ever. I was sick as shit. And I've had the flu and I've been sick as shit. And I felt like crap. I had the fever and chills and all this stuff back and forth. I've been down for days, body aches, everything that everybody was saying how bad that they had it, and it went on for a certain period of time. I don't know, but I've heard that it's because they did get the jab, and so when they did get sick, it was worse.
It
Now,
was worse. Yeah.
I never got anything where I even knew whether I had it or not. I may have felt a slight headache, a slight fever for a couple hours or a few hours, or woke up the next morning feeling fine again. I don't know, but there are reports coming out about shit like that.
Well, yeah, my personal experience, I got fluish, I got sick, I got the throwing up stuff, like the November before the epidemic actually hit, and and it was the household, you know what I mean, and it was bad for like a week, you know what I mean, but then got over it. And I was talking to my brother about this the other night on the other cast, that since then I have not got sick at all. I've got the sniffles. I've got a little cold. Spring came. You know what I mean? Got some allergies.
Which
Other
are
than that, dude,
symptoms of
I have
100,000 other things. Yes.
I have not been bedridden, flu sick since.
I have not.
And that's in 4 years, bro.
I have not missed a day of work from being sick, and I can't tell you how long. More fingers and toes. You count them up. I don't remember the last day I've been sick. Now I've been sick over like a weekend period, stuff like that, but it hasn't ever gone really long. I haven't been sick from. I've been around. My wife had it. Our daughter had it. I slept in the same room with my wife. I didn't sleep in the other room, or vice versa. And she had the whole taste thing where she couldn't taste or smell. I mean, it makes me so mad that this shit was put out there and that my wife has had to suffer and is finally, after this many years, finally getting more back to normal. I don't hear her complaining that she can't smell or taste anything. Like
So did your wife get the jab?
Oh yeah.
She have to? Okay. So
Yeah,
was
she didn't
forced, or
have to. No, she didn't
did it
have
on her
to.
own fruition?
She did it on her
Okay.
own. She had her girls do it, which was just, in my opinion, the stupidest thing to do because they didn't need it. They weren't affected by it. Yeah, maybe they had flu-like symptoms or whatever, and they might have been bad one way or the other, but it wasn't going to kill them. And I kind of knew that. It's like, why are you having them do this? But they did. So really the people that were affected the most were people who were over 60, 70,
Right.
obese,
Obese, yeah.
prior conditions, other comorbidities, everything else,
Right.
And the thing that sucks, and this goes right back to everything we're talking about, is that all these people who invent these things, we can have these things, we could have had all these different cures for things, but people are not making money, so they will kill the people who are going to destroy their industry. And this is why I can't stand Pfizer. I don't trust Pfizer. I don't trust Moderna. I don't trust any of these companies anymore. I think the FDA is useless. They are just bought and paid for. It's a revolving door between Pfizer or the FDA and Pfizer and other big pharma companies of who's on the whatever board, the CEOs, or back and forth. And it's all about making money. And if you don't believe that, you can live in your little fantasy world all you want. I don't care. But if you really look at it, this was the biggest marketing campaign, and everybody who worked for Pfizer in the upper echelons made millions of dollars. They're a multi-hundred-billion-dollar company now. All of a sudden,
Well,
within 2 years, a year.
To me, it seemed like a sick social experiment.
Oh yeah,
with money motivation.
Yep.
And that was the absolutely sickening thing about it for me, because as more information is coming out and coming to the
It's
forefront,
validating
it
everything
is validating
we're
that. Yeah.
chastised about. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I think you're exactly right. And what kind of sick, demented asshole or assholes would want to do that they would
Yeah.
use us as an experiment? And I had a feeling. I was like, no, this doesn't add up. None of this shit adds up.
Yeah.
And if you have to offer me a potential to win $1 million or a Krispy Kreme donut, I mean, anywhere in between of those things to get the jab, something's not right.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
I had to fight in the beginning with my ex-wife, because she was freaked out, and
Oh, yeah.
she works in the healthcare industry. Well, she did at the time, and she was freaked out, man. And I told her, look, just give it. I said, I'm not getting it. I said, the girls don't need it. Right. They recommended you don't even give it to children. I said, so
that changed later when they wanted more
yeah.
money.
I said, so that's out.
Yeah.
I said, and plus I would never give it to them anyway. I said, give it 6 months, give it a year. I said, and watch, you're gonna see that it's bullshit. And she's like, but they're shutting us down. They're shutting down everything. You have to stay home and da 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 da. I was like,
I have to stay home. Listen to yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, why? Well, they're shutting down the school, and they're going to give you laptops, and you got to start homeschooling. I'm like, it's not the end of the world. It's not going to be the end of the world. We're going to be fine. I said, we're going to weather this storm for a few months and watch what happens. We're just going to wait it out. I said, now if you feel like you want to get it, I said, that is your choice. I said, but we're not doing it. I said, so you know what I mean? Make a choice. If you're not forced to do it, I would recommend don't do it. I said, plus, I said at this time you work from home, so there's really not an issue. But I can't go around mom and dad. Her folks are a little bit older.
Who told you can't go around mom and dad?
Yeah,
You listen to yourself.
Well, dude, the church was putting out their propaganda as well about it. You know what I mean? And that's and her, her folks are avid followers of our lovely church here that runs our state. But at the same time, they were putting out their own propaganda and scaring these old folks to death.
They were invested in Pfizer. They've got to get their stock profits up.
So that and that was just, it was terrible. And then finally she's like, oh, okay, you know what I mean? After a few months, then a year goes by, and she's getting the information, and she's getting the actual breakdowns of what's in it. She's like, oh no, hell no, I'm not putting that in my body. Oh hell no.
Did it not make any sense to anybody when they said, oh, we've got to store this at minus 86 degrees Fahrenheit, or else it won't be.
You know what? The first
second you take it out of there, it's like goes up to freaking minus 20, and then a few minutes later, it's at fucking room temperature. I mean,
you know what was hilarious to me? It was the first like red flag of the whole thing, and this came out early, and I don't know if people saw this, but it was absolutely hilarious to me. That virus could be killed with Lysol spray.
Yeah.
Come on,
that was
bro.
The different strain, and
I went and bought a case of that Lysol spray that it says it kills
coronavirus,
99.999% of all pathogens. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I just coated the house in that shit. I was good, dude. I was good. I was like, all we need is Lysol. We're good.
But it's the SARS-CoV-2.
It was bullshit. Of
course it was bullshit.
That happened right before the shutdown. I think I heard that. And legit, I went and got like 4 bottles of that stuff. I still use it to this day. It's great. Yeah. And I kind of coated the house in it. And then I used it for cleaning when I cleaned. And we were great. I was like, I killed it.
Remember how everybody was doing that shit on all their fruits and vegetables they brought home? It was just like, oh, that was terrible. God, people.
Once I saw that, dude, that this virus could be killed with Lysol spray, I was like, these people are insane if they're gonna do this shit, dude. If they're buying into this bullshit.
The whole thing just makes me so mad about how many people were fooled into believing this because of the fear.
Not
They wanted to
full,
put
but
everybody
scared.
under.
Yeah, the fear. They were scared into it.
The fear mongering. And today, even today, you see people walking around outside with a mask on because there's what I don't even know. There's something apparently is it the bird flu thing that everybody's
Yeah,
now
they're now
scared of?
talking
That
about
they're
bird
oh my
flu.
god, give me a
Yeah,
fucking break.
mark
Are
my
you
words.
surprised? This is right before the election, people.
Mark
Are
my
you
words. There's
surprised?
going to be another epidemic coming down
Oh,
within the next probably not 5 years. I'd say probably 3 years. So look out for it, guys. They're already talking about this goddamn bird flu.
I mean, give me a fucking break. I mean, this is just like stop falling for the bullshit. It's not Chicken Little time. We don't need the sky's not falling. It won't be falling. It'll be good. You let your body. I told my doctor, you want a flu shot. You're getting all these other things. Your other boosters, your real boosters for polio and shit like that, not the fucking coronavirus, COVID-19. And I just said, you know what? Regarding the flu shot, no.
Mm-hmm.
I will let my body fight it off with my natural immunity as long as I can do that and I'm not catching a flu and in miserable pain over and over and over again all the time.
There's
At
no
that
reason to
point,
do it.
just let my body do its thing. If I catch the flu one time, great, fine, whatever. It's going to happen, but my body will fight it off. It's what it does.
Right.
But if I keep getting the
How it
flu
works.
a couple times, each year, each flu season, and I am down for the count each time or something like that, my body's apparently not doing it. Then I'll consider getting the flu shots, which are still a hit and miss because you don't know if you're actually getting the right strain of flu that particular year.
I haven't.
It's a joke. It's ridiculous.
I've never got them. I've never advocated for them. We don't do it to the kids. You know what I mean? The only vaccines that the kids had were the vaccines that they had to have to get into school because
mumps, rubella, whatever.
Yeah. We couldn't homeschool them. There was that choice. I mean, we were
But
hippie
those actually worked and stopped those viruses.
Yeah, we were hippie
That was weird.
hipsters when
That's
they
a
were
weird
young,
thing.
and we were just like, let's homeschool them, let's do this, and then we found out that we just couldn't, we didn't have the time, because we both had to work. But at the same time, it was like, to get them into public school or private school, they had to be vaccinated. So we got them then for that, and we're not doing it again. You know what I mean?
Good.
Because it's not mandatory for them to go to school now. So at the ages they are. But no, I'm never giving them the flu shot. I've never got it myself. And that's that's the end of that. Cause it's when you do it, you kill your body's natural immunity abilities, and it's terrible.
Yeah. It's basically this, it tells your body that it's already got what it needs. And so it doesn't need to produce it because it's coming in unnaturally.
Yeah, unnatural.
But if it notices that it needs to bump up its antibiotics and the white blood cells and everything else that go there to fight your viruses, things like that, then it'll produce it itself. Your body is amazing that way.
And people don't realize how amazing your body is. And, and people have conditions like, I have a condition that's autoimmune disorder. And that's, I have to deal with that. But you know what? Dude, I'm relatively healthy and I take a shit ton of vitamin C. You know what I mean? And like, again, I haven't been flu sick for 4 years.
Yeah. And I just love that the fact that they tell you, well, if you get it, it'll lessen the severity of the illness. How do you know? How do you know? You don't know that. Shut up and stop using that as a fucking excuse, people.
So I cough up a lung, puke a couple times, have a little diarrhea. You know what I mean? Runs through me.
Welcome to the world. Welcome to the
4 or 5
world.
days, and I'm back to normal. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, well, let's wrap this up and get going with stuff. Again, we want to remind everybody we've got some always some new designs, new shirts and stuff like that going on in the Rude Barn store. It's the etsy.com/shop/the Rude Barn.
Yeah.
Check out our patriotic designs, just like these flags that we have over our heads. And
cool.
a few other things, and we'll be adding more and more designs as we go. Check it out; there's always something new there. Yeah, for sure.
There's something for everybody. That's what I like about that. And with the Etsy too, you can kind of do it on whatever you want to, and have a little bit of fun with it yourself. So pick
your colors, pick your shirt, pick your design, and then we can actually put that stuff on lots of other products. Mugs, towels, hoodies, other things like that.
Pretty much anything you can think of. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll have a lot more stuff,
all kinds of stuff like that.
We just haven't put a ton in there, but there's a good variety of different things in there right now. We've got some fun stuff. We got some political stuff. We try not to be too political, but it's just too fun at this point.
It is, man. It's going to be a roller coaster for the next few months, and I am excited.
Enjoy, have fun, spread the word, let everybody know. We appreciate it. Make comments in the comment section. Let us know what you think. Please like and subscribe and all that fun stuff that we need for the YouTube algorithms, so that we can hopefully start making more content for you that we hope you enjoy. We try to make it fun.
Yeah,
not to make it too serious, but we do like to talk about certain things and go from there. So
yeah. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and again, you know what I mean. Check it out, like, subscribe, share, and we really kind of want to hear what you have to say. So spout off in the comments, and we'll read them, and we'll even read them on the show. You know what I mean?
If you have some really good ones, definitely. We may even send you a free T-shirt. You never know,
right? Yeah,
if it's good enough. I mean, it's got to be good content.
And we encourage
telling
you
us how good looking we are.
Right?
Only helps.
Only helps. And we encourage you to check out the shop, definitely, and check out our friends too over at the Bearded Viking. Check out their podcast too. The VOC, that's Vikings, Outlaws, and Cowboys. That's myself and my brother. And we touch on a lot of men's mental health stuff, which is really cool. I know we just closed up June, which was Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and we had some really good casts on that.
Whoa. The same as Pride Month?
Yeah, no, it's not Pride Month for me, man. It's Men's Mental Health Month. Exactly.
As it should be.
This is a damn shame. It's a damn shame.
Pride
But anyway, yeah, check that out if especially if you're struggling with some men's mental health stuff. Check that out. Also, we mentioned Dr. Mike Schwartz, that the author of Fauci's Fiction. He's over on Rumble with another gentleman called Mike Calderese, and also Kelly. They run a cast called Two Mikes Live. It's run by Dead Red Media. So check that out. They are super fun to listen to. They do a quick cast a couple times, or like 3 times a week. It's like an hour, but it's super fun, super informative. So check those guys out too. So we like to plug our friends, and we have a lot of friends. We're going to have some guests coming on to our show as well, which will be a lot of fun and create a little bit more dynamic content for you guys. So again, thanks for listening. That's all I got, Barn.
Yeah, thanks, Rude. We appreciate it, and we appreciate everybody listening and enjoying. We hope you enjoyed the show. We hope we can make you laugh a little bit, and at least make an hour and a half long podcast seem like it goes by pretty quickly. So
man, listen to it on your way to work. It's good.
Yeah,
it's good.
Absolutely. All right, guys, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right,
Peace out.
We're out.
All right, ending the recording right now.